Hey YouTube, second video of today, although I might not link it up today. Got a couple of things I want to talk about. One is a guitar that I just picked up an hour ago, which is exciting. Other thing, check out my pal Jerry Sun and the Smoking Gun is his band's name, on YouTube. He did a rig rundown thing, which is actually a very entertaining video. He was really good at talking to the camera and stuff like that. He says he copied the idea off me, but I get mentioned in it a couple of times, which is not just why I like the video. I actually found it quite interesting. He's a very obvious front man when you hear him talk, but it's well worth a wee dig through. Watching, I'll put a link to this video. He's only got 10 views. I saw it on Facebook yesterday, so I mean, I'll stick it down there. So give that a watch and a like and a subscribe. Lovely guy. I've done quite a lot of his guitar. Well, the 4 guitars he uses on thingies, every one of them I've been at, sticking in stupid switches and stuff. So check out Jerry Sun and the Smoking Gun. It's cool. Right, so what did I just pick up today? An interesting guitar. These I find it quite. It's always quite amazing when you see videos of. Again, I'm going to talk about Andertons. No disrespect to him. I watch the Andertons video a lot of the time. Nearly all of them, maybe not. I don't watch the acoustic ones because the acoustics don't really interest me. But they're trying to find interesting things about modern guitars. And it's like, oh, this one's got like the Gilmore switch in it, so they've got something. It's got an interesting feature. Or this one has, it's got a new colour. It's like that's what you get in a modern guitar. Whereas this one's got lots of interesting things about it. This is a Marlin State of the Art series. Obviously it's manky. I've never played it. It's not in tune. I've not even tuned it. I just got it back. Someone's put coloured strings on it, and I bought them before thinking they might be alright, and they were pants. So I don't know how that's going to get on. So this is interesting things about it. It appears to be a copy of my Ibanez RG530, which in 1986 it was an RG530. In 1985 the same shape was a RS, as in a Roadstar series, which appears to be what this is, even down to having a wee, so it's got a sort of slight kink in it, a sort of slightly Rickenbacker-y shape bit going on here, right down to that. So it's basically a copy of that. It's also BBR, which that Washburn there isn't BBR, but in 1984 Washburn had this great thing which was BBR, which was black, red. So it's black guitar, all black hardware, it's got red binding on it. And other people copied that because it was a very 1980s Knight Rider-y thing to do. So this is BBR. It's also got you see on the fret, if you can see around the fact it's got multicoloured strings. It's got red dots and a red Marlin on the 12th fret, red binding on the neck, red binding around the body, and even red numbers on the knobs. But it's got some interest, as I said, it's got some interesting features. It says it's made in Korea, so I think probably about 1986, something like that. Marlin's one of those companies that you see a lot of. There's a guitar called a Marlin Sidewinder. Actually, I nearly bought. I was looking at one yesterday on Facebook because it was actually just 2 minutes up the road, and I remember them being not very good. That was a sort of cheap one, so they maybe sold tens of the cheap model, and then when you started going up to their sort of higher ranges, they didn't sell anything like as many, so they're nothing like as common. I think the State of the Art series is probably the best, the top of the range Marlins. Once I've cleaned this up, I might be doing a video with my pal, my pal's bass, which it was just started at the start of this COVID thing. It was sitting on for sale in Edinburgh for ages, and it was just, I'm not driving to Edinburgh to pick up a bass. It was basically this sort of thing. It was like a P bass, but it had an extra bit here. It looked absolutely amazing, but it was the black, red and stuff. So I might do a video of both of these together. So I might even have the entire state of the art range, being a guitar and a bass. There might be more. So interesting things about it. Where do we start? Start with these pickups. They look like Seymour Duncan Invaders, but they won't be. But they've got my favourite 2 screws tilting pickup thing. I've never seen Invader pickups with the 2 screws. I think this guitar might be Cort, but I'm not sure. I think Cort used to use the 3 screw method. So it's got that. The bridge on it is it's kind of like a Caller. I'm not 100% sure this silver bolt on the front is meant to be there. As you can see, it's got brass rollers and fine tuners, and obviously it had some sort of clamp behind the nut. Not Floyd Rose, because it's not actually the nut. It's got a nut, and then it's got a clamp to clamp the string. So it's a double locking trem, or might not be double locking. It's kind of hard to tell. I've not had it to bits yet. I'm quite looking to see it, but interestingly, it doesn't have springs in the back. So this must be like a Caller, where it's it's just routed in from the front. But when this comes out, the springs and stuff must already be attached to it. So you can put a lot of adjustable things. It looks expensive. That's one of the things that I think about the Marlin Sidewinders and stuff. They had like a Bendmaster type trem, and they had a block on the back that was made of, Wayne said, Weetabix, which I've had before. So sometimes they use pot metal for the block, and it just kind of, after 30 years, it just crumbles into Weetabix. Whereas this one, I don't think it's actually got a block, because it must be whatever it's got inside this, like a Caller. So it'll be interesting to see if I can get that to work. What else we got? We also got we're getting down to pretty small things, but see the pickup switch. That's it's got a Strat style switch tip on a 3-way switch, on a Les Paul type switch, which I've not seen before. Interesting, and also it's got on the back here. See, there's an Allen key thing in here, which I am assuming is, unless it's, it might actually be the truss rod. No, the truss rod still comes in the front. So I think it's like your Fender micro tilt neck, which the action on this is really high. It's the same as when you buy all cheap guitars off Gumtree and stuff like that. Unless you know how to fix them, don't buy them off me instead. But I'm thinking that maybe I could see if I just undo the 4 screws a little bit. I can probably actually adjust the angle of the neck using this Allen key. That'd be interesting, which would probably bring it down to the action down to a good height. So that was just a wee quick video of this before I'm starting it, before I cleaned it up. This is very not being played. The guy said he bought it 20 years ago and never really played it, and it's like, if you look at the frets, it's not never been played, but there's very, very little fret wear. So it kind of probably goes with it's pretty much unplayed, and it's pretty manky, and I think it might clean up really well. It appears to be all original, apart from it's missing the tremolo bar. I'm just hoping a normal one fits, or I can make a normal one fit. Notice that also there's a tremolo bar side hole on either side, so you can use this bridge for a left-hander, or if you want to do the Stevie Ray Vaughan Hendrix thing, where you've got the tremolo bar coming from the top instead of coming from the bottom of it. Yeah, so interesting guitar. We'll see a video maybe next week when I get down to cleaning it up a little bit. There's a few more things to say about it, but I find it's amazing that you can buy pure amazing, like what I find interesting guitars is that, I've already ran through like half a dozen interesting things about this, and it's like so many guitars that if you go and buy them new, you're struggling to find one interesting thing about it. You go in and try like a £500 Strat or something. It's like, what's interesting about it? And it's like, it's got a humbucker, or it's Daphne Blue, which you don't normally do, or it's like these sort of things. Where this has got funny truss rods, odd pickups, bizarre bridge. It's a copy of an Ibanez Roadster, and it's BBR. It's like, and it's got a fish in the 12th fret. Incidentally, I've noticed that on the black Washburn there, which isn't BBR but it's very similar to a BBR, they painted the fingerboards black, which I always thought was a bit strange, because it's a high quality rosewood fingerboard. It doesn't really apply to that guitar or my Tour 24, but it does apply to this, whereas this has got like the red inlays and a wooden fretboard, and you can't really see them that well. So that's probably why they painted the fingerboards black, just so that the red sticks out a bit more. But once this is cleaned up, I think it's going to look amazing. So rock on and check out my, looks a wee bit like a Cavalier or something there with his mad moustache and beardy thing. I think they've got an album out and stuff like that as well, and they're pretty good. But as I said, even if you're not interested in music, actually that particular video, which I'll stick a link to down there, is a good rig rundown type video, and it's quite interesting. Music. Oh, not tune it. Rock on!